Well, good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for coming out to the Holland Land Office tonight for the next edition of our concert series. We are not just history, we do other things here. So thank you for coming out. We're very happy to have Tom Torrisi with us tonight. So I'll read off his bio because it's quite impressive, so I want to give him credit for it. So Tom is a guitarist and composer based in Buffalo, acted as both soloist and chamber musician. Performance highlights include the 21st Century Guitar Festival, Black House Collective, Buffalo International Guitar Festival, Buffalo Guitar Research Conference, June in Buffalo, Mostly Modern Festival, the New York City Electroacoustic Music Festival, and Rochester Fringe Festival. Wow! He was a prize winner in the APSU Concerto Competition, the Memphis University International Guitar Competition, and the Southern Guitar Festival. And on top of everything else, he is a member of the faculty at SUNY Fredonia and also teaches at the Nusantara Arts in Buffalo, New York. So without further ado, Tom, take it away.
Thank you all. Thank you, Ryan, for the introduction and for having me here. This is really cool. It's my first time here at all for any reason. So honestly, I've been walking around the museum this whole time looking at all the cool art and history on display. So it's exciting to be here just for that reason. I didn't know this was a spot I could visit. So I'll definitely be back to visit again at some point to actually spend some time and read everything. But glad to be here playing some music. So I'm gonna play a variety of music for you from some of my favorite classical guitar pieces, and kind of give you a sort of broad perspective of classical guitar music. The first thing I'm going to play is an old piece, actually originally written for the lute, which was sort of an ancestor of the guitar. You might have seen them before in pictures. They're kind of like pear-shaped instead of guitar-shaped. Have many more strings. And this composer is Sylvius Leopold Weiss, who you may or may not have heard of, kind of obscure these days, but he lived the exact same time as someone you definitely might have heard of, which is Johann Sebastian Bach.
And they were close friends, too.
And yeah, they were acquainted. So, in fact, Bach wrote some suites for lute, which we believe were at least inspired by Weiss, who was very, very well-known lute player at the time. And actually, the lute was one of the more popular instruments at the time as well. It's kind of fallen out of fashion these days, but we have the guitar now, which is pretty close. So this piece I'm going to play is called Passacaglia. And the Passacaglia is a type of a genre of music that was popular back then. Basically, has a repetitive bass line and chord progression that is then composed on top of a variety of variations. So, as I'm playing, you can try to listen to see if you can identify that repetitive thing going on in the bass. But either way, I think it's a really beautiful piece, and hope you agree. Next on the program, I'll play a couple of pieces by Barrios. So he was a composer, a guitarist and a composer from Paraguay, South America. And he's significant because he was relatively successful in South America and played around quite a lot. Never really broke into the global scene, but he was well acquainted with Andres Segovia, who's really like sort of the father of the modern classical guitar, really like brought it onto global popularity. They weren't really friends, but they had met and exchanged some words and some music at times. But Barrios is significant in that he was one of the first guitarists to make recordings. And he made several of them, which still exist. And that's actually one way that we know about his music, because he made all these recordings, and you can actually hear him playing his own music. Those recordings have been preserved and like remastered, and so you can hear them. And it's very, very cool to have something like that. So the first piece that I'll play is one that I really enjoyed. It's a piece that he wrote dedicated to one of his students, who was also the daughter of one of his patrons who supported him during his time. This piece is called Julia Florida. It's in the style of a barcarolle, which is like a boating song. So it has like a gentle sort of rocking feel to it. That you really notice. It's a really beautiful piece, one of my favorites. And here it is. So I'm going to follow up with another piece by Guitarist. He wrote a lot of pieces in different kinds of dance styles, and in both South American styles and also European styles, because he was very influenced by Chopin and Beethoven and things like that. So his next one is more along those lines. This is a waltz. He wrote a set of 4 waltzes in his Opus 8 composition, and this is waltz number 4. Thank you again. So next piece I'm going to play next piece I'm going to play is a very old one, but new to me. I just learned about this piece very recently, thanks to the wonder of Spotify and listening to random songs popping up on my playlists. And this is a piece by the Renaissance lute composer and performer John Dowland. Dowland lived from 1563 to 1626. So this is pre-Bach. This is much older. And his pieces are still played today. A lot of them are these amazing virtuosic lute pieces, and he's also very well known for lute songs, so like lute playing with like a singer. Sort of comparable to like what we hear today very often, which is a guitar player playing and singing, right? Just a different style of music. So this piece is called A Dream, and I was actually looking for pieces sort of referencing sleeping or dreams, just sort of for this theme that I'm working on. And this one came up, and it's really great. It features the kinds of harmonies that he's known for, and just these really beautiful melodic lines. So I thought I'd take an opportunity to introduce it to all of you as well. So this is A Dream by John Dowland. old, something a little more recent, play something older, even more, I'll play something even more recent next. So this is a piece by a Cuban composer and guitarist who's still living, named Leo Brouwer. Classical guitarists will definitely be familiar with Leo Brouwer. He's one of the most prolific composers for the instrument today. And his music is really cool. Well, he's gone through very many different style periods. Early on in his compositional career, he was very focused on writing Cuban-influenced music, so you could hear all these rhythms and folk songs that he embedded into it. A little bit later on, his second period was like avant-garde, and he was writing some really crazy stuff, being experimental. And then more recently, his style has gone to this sort of like neo-classical, neo-romantic thing, where he kind of takes all these things and puts them together, and makes this really, what I think is like, almost like ideal guitar music, perfectly fitted to the instrument and sounding great, all these kind of things. So the piece I'm going to play is from a set that he wrote called El Decameron Negro, the Black Decameron. And these three pieces were based on African folk stories that he had read. And each one is sort of titled descriptively. So I'm going to play the second from the set, and this is called Flight of the Lovers to the Valley of Echoes. And I like this piece a lot because I feel like there's a good amount of symbolism in this. So you can hear this sort of, after this introduction, this kind of like quarrel developing where you get these really tense harmonies and sort of a strained kind of character. And then you hear this flight, whatever this is. This is maybe like an escape of some kind, this accelerating sort of pattern. And then the Valley of Echoes, when we get there, is this grand, very big sounding thing where you hear the echoes in the guitars. And all throughout, you get this sort of theme, this little four-note idea that goes all throughout the whole piece, if you can identify, in different kinds of tonalities and things. But this is always kind of there. I feel like that's the symbol of these two people in love that are fleeing something or something along those lines. So this is Leo Brouwer, Flight of the Lovers to the Valley of Echoes. very much. Retune a little bit for the next pieces. So I'm going to play a couple of original pieces right now, or really kind of one together. So when my strings are sort of settling into their new tuning, I'll tell you a little bit of the story of this piece. So I wrote this like about a year ago, and I was just sort of taking a sort of respite from normal life. Like I kind of rented a cabin out in the wilderness in the mountains down near Allegheny, and just took a few days with like myself and my dog, just to kind of be in the middle of nowhere for a while, just to reset. And while I was there, my intention was to go hiking and to sort of hang out and maybe work on some things a little bit. But for some reason, while I was there, my first night, just hanging out in the cabin, and it was the kind of like open sky, all the stars are out, and it was quiet, you could hear the animals and the insects and that sort of thing, and just super peaceful, just really like this very natural and down-to-earth kind of feeling, and so I just really felt something come on, and I wrote this piece, which I really think captured the feeling of being there in this totally peaceful state of mind, with no obligations, no worries, anything like that. So after I wrote it, I premiered it about a week later at the Buffalo Guitar Festival, and I'm playing since then. And more recently, I've added this short introduction to the larger piece. So the piece is called "Asleep in the Valley," and it's very much like it's soft and gentle. It's very much like a dream state to me. Especially as it goes into, there's a middle section of the piece that has a little more momentum to it. So this introduction that I wrote is intended to be almost like hypnotic in the sense of like falling asleep. So it's very sparse, it's somewhat repetitive, and then by the time we get to the dream part, we should be sleeping. So don't sleep today, but if you do, I guess it's okay. I kind of did that on purpose. So this is, again, it's called "Asleep in the Valley." Thank you very much again. I'll just play a couple more pieces for you. Two I'm going to play together. I guess three more pieces. So two I'm going to play together. They're from a suite by an Argentinian composer, Jose Luis Melin. And the suite is called Suite del Recuerdo. Suite of Memories, and it's based on like a 6-movement Baroque suite that Sebastian Bach wrote a lot of these, so they're a dance suite. So this is a similar kind of thing using South American dances. So what I'll play is the last two pieces from that suite, which is Evocation, which is sort of a more of a song-like, like a slower song-like kind of piece. And then the HLOM, which is the final dance of the suite, which is very lively and upbeat and lots of fun. So here's the Evocation HLOM from Suite Del Repertoire. piece to play. We're going a little past 8 o'clock, so I hope that's okay. This is a piece that I love to play a lot. I love to play at the end of concerts because it uses some sounds that people are not used to hearing. And it's also a piece about one of my favorite stories, which is The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. This piece is called Usher's Waltz. And if you know the story, so just a quick thing. So Robert Usher is basically the main character in the story, and he's being visited by an old friend who's the narrator of the story. And Roderick basically says, come see me, I'm not doing well. And so the friend goes there, and it's true, he's not doing well. He's seeming frail, he's old, and he's seeming a little bit like his mind is going. If you know anything about Edgar Allan Poe, you kind of know where this is going. So as they're spending time together, though, one of the things they do is they make art. They make paintings, they read stories, and Usher plays music. And it's talked about in the story. He takes his guitar and he plays these wild, virtuosic improvisations that are just seemingly impossible for someone to distinguish, but somehow he plays this music. So I believe that the composer of this is Nikki Mikoshin, and I believe that's kind of what he is channeling, is the music that Robert Usher played in the story. And then how the story ends, there's a thunderstorm and sort of a tragic ending to the whole thing. I won't spoil it, even though it's quite old, I still won't spoil it. But you'll hear these allusions to the thunderstorm in the music. There's these very loud, abrasive sounds that come through. So, this is a fun piece. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you again for joining me tonight in this really cool place. Thank you again, Ryan, for having me. This is Usher's Waltz by Nikki Mikoshin.
playing for us tonight. Thank you all for coming. Quick little PSA upcoming events. We have our next guest speaker next Thursday, the 17th at 7 p.m. Greg Kinnell will be here. He'll be doing it on the Doolittle Raid. Then on April 24th, the following Thursday, we've got a doubleheader. We've got Java with Joe in the morning at 9 o'clock. Joe Louise Wilkes will be talking about the Veterans Administration. And then at night, we have Ben Kemp from Grant's Cottage, who will be talking about a soldier from the Adirondacks who fought on both sides of the Civil War. And for you music lovers, we have 2 concerts next month. On May 16th, we have the DSP Trio. And then on May 23rd, we have Art Dentino back. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that and come back out. And we'll see you again the next time.